Welcome to FINA Aquatics World. In this month's programme, we kick off the year by hearing from stars old and new as they look forward to the Games in London. Over the course of the show, we meet some of the greatest swimmers in the world, and we follow the American National Championships. The British capital has seen a lot during its almost 2,000-year history, and as we move into a new decade, the great metropolis is starting to gear up for its next great showpiece event, the Olympic Games in 2012. The city has undergone continuous change ahead of the curtain raiser, the opening ceremonies that will take place inside the purpose-built Olympic Stadium in East London on the 27th of July 2012. One of the biggest concerns for the Olympic Committee is the legacy that will be left in the capital long after the Games have moved on, and the necessity for reusable venues are of paramount importance, as is the expected influence the event will have on generations to come.
Having the Olympics in this country, I don't think people quite realise what it means. It will change people's lives. You know, we all need role models. We need something to aspire to. You know, the Olympics inspired me to want to go out there and achieve, and this is what it will do to so many kids. It'll have that great feel-good factor. You know, we're massive sports fans over there. We like success. We want people to achieve on the sports field, and this will give us that great feeling, something that we can feel proud of.
People are really getting into gear now. We had huge numbers of people, far more than we expected, applying for the tickets. And I think that is an indication that people are really excited about this. And I think people are realising that this is just a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And it's an incredible thing that we are the only city in the world that's hosted the Olympics 3 times. So it's going to be an absolute moment in history.
The legacy of the Games is important, and hopefully this huge event can open spectators' eyes to new sports, raising the interest and contributing to an even greater spectrum of sporting interest in Great Britain. The British capital will have an array of world-class sporting facilities ready for the Games, and the home stars are ready to perform in front of an ecstatic partisan crowd.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the same in sport all around the world, you know, whether it be football, swimming, rugby, anything, you know, if you've got the home team advantage, you know, you're more likely to win, I suppose. So, yeah, it's going to be fantastic, and the British public are always very supportive of us athletes, and the Manchester Commonwealth Games is a prime example of that. And I was only 19 and I managed to come away with the gold and the bronze, so really looking forward to it. It's going to be a fantastic event.
I mean, obviously, being in the home country is huge. I've seen in China in 2008, in Italy in 2009, and again last year in China. The home crowd really boosts the home countries, and once they get behind them, they really just give them that extra bit of energy just to make them perform just a little bit better. So I think that's what's going to be really great about these Olympics.
It means the world. I mean, I did exactly what I needed to do at the World Championships, which is qualify for the Olympics, and that's every athlete's dream, is to compete for their country, you know. And what makes it even better is that it's a home Olympics, so it couldn't, you know, this is probably going to be the best Olympic Games I ever have been to or will ever go to, because it's a home Olympics and it means so much to us. But it was such an honour to be the first one to qualify. It just, you know, really was an honour to say that, you know, I'm number 1 on Team GB's list.
It's great to know that British athletes are definitely coming through on home ground, and you can see that everyone's diving so much better with the home support. So I think we've definitely got the home crowd advantage, and I think for London 2012 as well, we're going to have the advantage there too. My goals and expectations for the Olympics are just to go out there, try and do the best performance I can, try and soak up all the atmosphere with the support from the home crowd, and obviously go in there and try my best and hopefully win a medal.
Time now for the annual 2011 US Short Course Winter National Championships, but this year it was a bit different. To allow participants an opportunity to achieve Olympic qualifying standards, it became a long course competition instead. This year's edition was held in Atlanta, Georgia, and participating were some of the best names in swimming. We get the ball rolling by looking at a reigning Olympic champion in action, but he's not an American. Japan's Kosuke Kitajima claimed the breaststroke gold in Beijing in 2008 and was in Atlanta to get some competitive racing.
Hansen did come back and win the Summer Nationals at Stanford this year. And you also have Shanto and Mark Ganglop, who's part of the World Championship team this year. Mike Alexandrov, all of them in team.
Yeah, there's no question that I think that the top 2 swimmers next summer heading to London will come from this field. Brendan Hansen, as I said, has made a great comeback. I talked to him earlier. He said he'd love to break a minute here. He wanted to come here and swim fast. He wants to race as much as possible here these next 6 months. He's been at it for a couple of years, so that's what he needs to do. He needs to race. He's in shape. He's in great shape.
Hansen went 1:00:08 at Stanford. That's how close the game to breaking a minute earlier. Can he hang on here after the fast 50 out?
There he is, right there in the middle of the pool. Kitajima way up on top, is trying to get back into it.
Hansen in the middle, Kitajima at the very top pushing. But Hansen coming in, and it's Brendan Hansen who comes in at 1:00:31.
Brendan Hansen emerged to win the men's 100 breast. He clocked 1:00.31, while Kitajima, who is obviously in heavy training, settled for 5th in 1:01.18. Hansen also won the 200-metre event, where Kitajima finished 4th. Nathan Adrian had a good time in Atlanta, walking away with gold in the 50 as well as the 100-metre freestyle.
Not as quick off the blocks there. Going to be quicker. Well, he was solid, though. I mean, when you look at the reaction times, 0.68. That's the time the gun went off to his feet leaving the blocks.
Bousquet was slow off the blocks. Let's see if he can catch up here. Adrian looks to have a slight edge coming to the wall. And Adrian is going to win his 6th consecutive national championship in the 50 free.
Adrian beating big guns Ronald Schumann and Frederic Bousquet to the gold there in the 50 metres with a time of 21.85 seconds. The men's 200-metre individual medley was the most anticipated event, mainly because of one man, USA's Ryan Lochte. The FINA World Champion and world record holder in the event is looking to challenge the big man Michael Phelps in London and is currently in heavy training.
And Lochte 5th as we come home in the last 50.
See, Lochte just doesn't have that great pickup. You still see him way at the very top getting lost in the chop. He's not going to win it.
No. Right now it is Darian Townsend hanging on an 8th. Russo in lane 5 right in the middle is making a push. Russo's going to make this close at the end. It's a touch, and it is going to be Townsend that hangs on. Townsend hung on by 28/100ths.
A jaded Lochte couldn't threaten the medals. Instead, it was South African Darian Townsend who clipped Sebastien Rousseau in the men's 200-metre individual medley triumph. Ryan Lochte, who was just named Swimming World's World Swimmer of the Year, placed 6th in 2:01.42. Time to leave Atlanta briefly, but we'll be back later to check out the best of the women's action. And we'll stick with the men's 200-metre individual medley and Ryan Lochte as we sit down with one of his greatest opponents in London, Briton James Goddard.
Sporting profiles from the tiny island group, the Seychelles, are few and far between. But in the capital city of Victoria in 1983, James Goddard entered the world. Goddard, however, did not stay too long on his father's island as he relocated with his family to Britain at the age of 5, taking up the sport of swimming in the northwest of England. He has never regretted his choice of country, sport, or indeed club, Stockport Metro.
In my opinion, it's the greatest club in English history, really. I mean, we produced 4 Olympic medals, World Championship gold medalists, Commonwealth Games gold medalists, and there's not any other swimming club in the country that can really say that. So it's got great tradition, and we've got to keep it going.
Goddard himself has contributed to this harvest with 3 Commonwealth gold medals as well as podium places at the World and European Championships. But so far, he can only look back at near misses when it comes to the Olympic Games.
Pretty disappointing ones, really. I mean, I came 4th in Athens and 6th in Beijing. So I've always kind of just missed out, which has been really disappointing. And I've just got to step up my game that little bit extra, and hopefully I can come away with a medal.
James could be forgiven for feeling sorry for himself. Like many of today's active male swimmers, he is unlucky enough to compete on the same stage as some of the best athletes in the history of the sport. But somewhat surprisingly, James only feels inspired by the challenge.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got the 2 greatest swimmers of all time in my event, which is fantastic, with Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte. Well, probably you could argue the 3rd greatest swimmer with Laszlo Chay, the Hungarian, as well. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a hard road, but it's what I live for.
And if that is not motivation enough, the birth of his first child has given him more inspiration and also forced the amiable medley specialist to grow up quickly.
I didn't realise how much it would change somebody's life, actually. It makes you grow up pretty quick, pretty fast. A lot of people might say that, you know, I've got a bit of a immature side to my nature. And that's definitely something that's having a daughter's kind of changed, you know, because you've got to grow up pretty fast. Because, you know, it gives you that extra bit of maturity, an extra bit of stability that you need, I think, to be a successful sportsman.
The Olympic Games will undoubtedly represent the pinnacle of Goddard's career. Despite having competed at 2 Summer Olympics in 2004 and 2008, they will pale into insignificance in comparison to a Games on home soil.
You know, it's every athlete's dream for a home Olympic Games. You know, it doesn't even come once in a lifetime. So it's massively exciting, and the buzz around the place and the buzz around Britain, you can see is amazing. And yeah, it's an athlete's dream, absolutely.
Coming up after the break, we continue to follow the American National Championships as it's the women's turn to shine. And we meet up with a 16-year-old superstar bound for success at the Olympic Games in London. Welcome back. In part 2 of FINA Aquatics World, we meet up with one of the best swimmers around, American Missy Franklin. Before that, though, we travel back to Atlanta to follow her and her talented peers gearing up for the big party ahead. Oh, we're now back in the Georgia Tech Aquatics Center in Atlanta, USA, to continue our coverage of the US Long Course Winter National Championships. As we had a look at the men's events in the first part of FINA Aquatics World, we'll now switch focus to the women. The American contingent is filled to the brim with talent, and one of the best is Dana Vollmer. She's not always in the spotlight, but she's constantly at the top of her game. Atlanta was no exception.
Let's see how that little illness that she woke up with affects her stroke. She hasn't been real sharp here at these national championships as it is, so those symptoms might have come on her a little bit earlier in the meet, which caused her to wake up not feeling well. She looks pretty good right there. There she is in lane number 3. Magnuson up there in lane number 5, also looking good. Now, the one that has a lot of speed is Alex Forrester right there in lane number 6. She was faster than anybody else in the prelims, 26.9.
So Forrester out of Yale University with the lead at the 50. Vollmer was second. And Magnuson third. And they're coming down to the final 25. See if Dana Vollmer's illness affords her a little kick for the finish here. Looks like she has something left. It's Vollmer and Forrester coming to the wall, and it is Dana Vollmer at 58.04.
The FINA World Champion from Shanghai, Dana Vollmer, put on a show in her World Champion event 100-meter fly, winning the race in 58.04. She had the top time in the world last year with a sterling mark of 56.47 from the Worlds. The true veteran of American swimming is the now 44-year-old Dara Torres. The multiple Olympic champion can still provide a great challenge, which she proved in the 50-metre freestyle.
Jessica Hardy has been the custom lately, the top qualifier, right in the middle in lane 5.
But still, really good start. She was the 3rd fastest off the block, Dara Torres was, and she has great closing speed. Not especially fast the first 15 or 20, but she'll close well.
Lyra Jackson was fastest out in lane 4. She might have a slight edge, but Dara's coming on in 7. It looks like Torres and Hardy, and it's Jessica Hardy. Jessica Hardy at the wall, 25.08, Torres 2nd, and Jackson 3rd.
Jessica, how were you able to pull it off at the end?
You know, I don't know. It's a race. At the 50, I don't think. So I just raced. I just had fun, and I went hard, and I'm happy. Yeah, it's good.
All right, great. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. She's back. They tried to send you away, but you can't do it. 44 years old. You took off 2009 and 2010. What is enabling you to still swim at this level after 7 knee surgeries, Dara?
You know, I think it's a love of the sport. I love competing. I love being in the water. You know, it gets to the point where I can't do it, I won't do it. But, you know, I'm still able to keep up with some of the younger ones, so why not? You know, I really just want to make the team. That would be a big goal. I've had lots of challenges and obstacles in the way, but, you know, just be great to make the team and just show everyone that age is just a number.
Separated by just 0.16 seconds, Jessica Hardy beat Torres to the gold. Torres participated in the 1984 Games in Los Angeles 3 years before Jessica Hardy was born. After missing the Olympics in Beijing 2008, Jessica Hardy is sure to be one of the main contenders for gold in London in 6 months' time. Rebecca Soni continues to remind the world of her greatness. She won the 100 and 200 metre breaststroke in Shanghai and did the same here in Atlanta.
But here comes Soni. You can kind of feel this last 30 meters for her. It always happens, especially here in the 100. She's got great closing speed, and Jessica Hardy might be the 2nd best 100 breaststroker in the world. And look what Soni's doing.
Hardy, though, it's going to be Hardy and Soni comes in. And Rebecca Soni took it those last 25 meters, just that surge on 105.83, which is the 2nd fastest time in the world this season. No surprise.
Soni was nearby unbeatable last year, and she really looks destined for gold in London. Here she managed a 1:05.83, some 7/10 off her time at the World Championships in Shanghai. It went to the wire in the women's 200 metre freestyle as Missy Franklin and Frances Camille Muffat locked horns for the top spot.
Now, Muffat just took off. She just took off that first 10 meters off that wall. Going to be very tough to beat her, but here comes Franklin starting to put her turnover into it a little bit.
And now into the final meters, Missy Franklin's putting a real push on Muffat. This is a terrific race. To the wall, and Muffat has just enough. 1/10 of a second. Now Missy Franklin had some road to make up the final 50, and she made up almost all of it.
Despite Franklin changing gear over the final 15 metres, Frances Camille Muffat earned herself a 2nd title of the meet after keeping Franklin on her hip the entire women's 200 free. After coming 2nd in that race and missing out on the first day of competition due to scholastic obligations, Missy Franklin was keen to get back in the 100 metre backstroke.
Well, this has been such an incredible year for Missy Franklin. The year she turned 16 has achieved so much. The talk of Shanghai in women's swimming was how she exploded and had absolutely no nerves on the biggest stage.
Well, she's still not good underwater. She's the best swimmer in the pool, no doubt. And I think that will come. Once again, she's very young. That 16-year-old body, once she starts to gain some strength, her underwaters will improve. There's no doubt about that.
Franklin in lane 4, that's closer to the bottom of your screen. Pelton in lane 6, and Pelton has the lead at the turn.
Well, Pelton's been swimming very well here at these national championships. You can see how quick all the swimmers are out at that first 50, much faster than they were at prelims.
Elizabeth Pelton feels like a veteran. We've seen her for several years. She just turned 18, so another young hope for America. But Noriko, Nina, Japan is making a push in 7, Pelton at 6. Here comes Franklin in 4. Missy Franklin's going to kick it in at the end and win it. 1:00:10.
Well, just like in the 200-meter freestyle, Franklin was strong during the final 15 meters, and this time she went all the way. Her time, 1:00.10, was a bit off her 59.18 from the Summer Nationals, but still looking as strong as ever. Although we met her a few months ago after her stunning world record in Berlin, we catch up with her again for an in-depth look at the glittering career of Melissa "Missy" Franklin.
There are few 16-year-olds in the world today who have achieved as much in their lives as Melissa "Missy" Franklin. At the age of 13, while most teenage girls were following the latest Justin Bieber tweets, Missy was competing against some of the best swimmers in the world at the U.S. National Olympic Trials.
Being able to go to Olympic trials when I was 13 was unbelievable. I was kind of in shock, like walking around and seeing all these amazing swimmers. And I think it'll make me feel a lot more comfortable, which is how I think I swim best, is when I'm just comfortable and relaxed and having fun.
Missy has always credited her mom for keeping her on the right path and states she owes her everything. It may have been her parents who nudged her into the water, but it is her long-term coach, Todd Schmitz, who has nurtured and developed the immense talent.
Missy's wired a little different. You know, she's going to be the one down on the pool deck dancing and having a good time, no matter where, if she's at Worlds or she's at a World Cup meet or if she's at a local meet in Colorado. But the thing that's awesome about her is when she puts her goggles on, there's no friends and she's all game.
And when you look at the people Missy idolized growing up, the lure to compete for the USA was again a strong one.
States obviously has incredible idols that I could look up to. So Michael Phelps and Natalie Coughlin are definitely some of my biggest idols, and the fact that I've been able to get to know them and have friendships with them is just like a dream come true for me.
Although obviously blessed with the talent and the will to become someone great, Missy was also born with a secret weapon. Standing over 6 feet tall, it's her feet that gives Missy the extra boost.
My feet are huge, definitely. I have a size 13 woman, and it is almost impossible to find shoes. I think feet are huge. I mean, I think they're a huge part of it, and my uncle always jokes around that I kind of have my own built-in flippers. And so definitely I know that a lot of really good swimmers have big feet, but you know, some don't. Some have small feet. I mean, the feet are a variety, but I definitely think that my size of my feet helps and my height helps.
Missy is now at the very top together with her idols. At the FINA World Championships in Shanghai last year, she won 5 medals, 3 gold, 1 silver, and a bronze. During the latter stages of 2011, she also reached another milestone in her career, stealing the limelight from Michael Phelps after smashing the short course world record in her favorite event, the 200-meter backstroke. The new world record of 2 minutes and 3/100 of a second was an astonishing achievement for Missy. And as a world champion and world record holder, she clearly has the potential to succeed at the Olympic level. And with the London Games rapidly approaching, Todd Schmitz and Missy Franklin are preparing for the biggest sporting spectacle in the world.
We definitely plan on making the Olympic team, and so then we look at the schedule and we say, okay, this is what the training looks like afterwards, and we're going to go, to training camp, and then we fly to London, and then processing. So even though we haven't made the team, I want her to mentally be able to prepare herself so that when we do make the team, she already knows what the next 4 weeks look like, so it's not a big surprise.
I really don't try to think about it that much. I mean, I feel like if you really think about the Olympics and Olympic trials all the time, it just puts so much added pressure on yourself, and that's just not needed, and that takes away the fun factor of it. So I know that it's going to be a very, very hard year of training, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I cannot wait to get my butt kicked every single day in practice and to kind of push myself into the ground every single day just to get a little bit closer. because I want to represent my country more than anything at an Olympic Games, and to be able to do so this summer would be an absolute dream come true.
Well, that's it for this episode. We'll be back in a month's time with more aquatics action. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye for now.